gardeners, welcome to Garden Life 365. All right, so today we're going to be restringing lights. We took a picture of the lights we had up before, and we're just going to be replacing those. Those were incandescent lights, and so now we're going to restring LED Edison lights. And the tools we need for today's project, very simple. Just our string lights, the bulbs, which we're going to put in after we string the cord where we want it to go, and a ladder. We may need a couple of clips or ties to keep the line in place once we get it strung, but those are optional items. So we'll see as we go along. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So we're gonna start at the top of our deck so that we can string lights across first and then drop the cord down. We're not gonna put them in place, but we just want the line up here because it's easier to drop the line down than to have to push the line up onto the deck. So we're gonna start unraveling our cord up here. And so we're basically just dropping our line down. We know we're gonna wrap it around this part, so it is much easier to wrap it around first and drop the line down than to have to try and fish it up. Now what we're gonna do is come down and see exactly how much line we need before we start placing it on the deck. That way we don't have to reposition it on the deck later. Just trying to give us enough cord to play with. So we've dropped enough of the cord to reach our connection, and we're just gonna put that in securely. Now it's very heavy, so it's bringing down our tree branch, but once we tighten up the cord on the deck, it won't do that. It'll be higher in the air and tighter. But if you want to look this way, we already have our mini lights strung on our tree, so that will light up, and now we're connecting our LED Edison lights so that the tree will light up and we'll have some light over our patio and deck. So as you can see, we're raising our line up slowly but surely by bringing some of that cord back in. And we just want to keep going until our lights are at the level we would like them and they're tight. Still think they're a little low, but we'll check them. All right, so we're gonna pull them in a little bit more. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, we're gonna need a few cable ties, and the reason is it's at a good height, but we want to make sure that it stays there with, you know, varying weather conditions, summer, spring, winter, fall, wind, snow, rain, whatever. We want to make sure that it stays in place. Now this might be a little bit smaller. I'm going to start with this twist tie to see if it works. If not, we'll use the bigger ones. One thing I wanted to note, we really wanted the Edison bulbs because we think the look makes our patio and deck area very cozy and warm. So we had to go with a black string cord, black line, because the white, it wasn't long enough, and the white didn't come in a longer size to match our deck. But it's kind of a catch-22 because either you're going to match your deck or you would have a white line going across an area, which we thought would be more noticeable. So to kind of blend in with nature, we thought the black cord would fit better going across our patio, and then, you know, we would just deal with the black line going across our white spindles on our deck. But it's all a personal preference. You decide, you know, which one works best for you. But here we were kind of bound to the length that we needed, and the length that we needed only came in black. All right, so again, to maintain the height that we have here, we're just going to pull that as tight as we want it so that we have that nice high height. And then I'm going to pull some of the cord through so that it doesn't move while I'm putting my twist tie in. Now we're going to come back at the end. We're not going to do it now because we want to get the rest of the lights strung on the deck, but we're going to come back and cut that end off once we see how many other twist ties we need. All right, so we're just going to continue fishing it through the deck until we get to the power source. So we put a little bit of electrical tape here, so we were able, because there's a gap here in our fascia board, we were able to put a layer of brown tape to match the wood, just to kind of cover up the cord so you can't see it from the top. And then we're just gonna put it in a couple other places just to keep it down, since we do have that space in between. That just is another way in addition to the zip ties. It just makes it more secure in addition to the zip ties. And so we're just going to go through and cut off all the ends on the zip ties, cutting as close to the end of it as possible so not to have any sharp edges. In some places it's inevitable, but we're going to try and cut as close as possible. And continue on with our tape and cutting our zip tie edges, and we're done. We'll test the lights.